Don't mind me. Mm. Add that. Hello. The light is kind of bright. Hola.
Hello.
Hey.
How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I have a slight headache, but
Oh, bless it. Hey, Brittany. It's like I know we connected and you made a chat. Look at you. You on it.
yes.
Don't mind me. I'm over here eating like chicken nuggets and stuff.
Girl,
I realized I was hungry like 20 minutes.
I know. I said, what can I nibble on? A granola bar.
Yeah. It's like
Oh man, I just had some chili. It was so good.
Oh, that sounds good.
Yes.
So I'll give it a couple more minutes for people to join us.
Well, unfortunately, I did worse. I was sick all day, so I didn't even get to read, which means I didn't finish at 6:59. So,
oh,
but I did get past the first book.
Yeah, that was the long one.
I didn't realize there was 2 in there. I didn't.
Yeah.
And I'm honestly wondering at what point the second story was written, because Frances Ray passed like some years ago. So I'm like
10 years ago.
Yeah. So I'm like, when was this written? I mean, it was still good to me. They're 2 very different stories for me. I enjoyed them both, but like, I think I might have liked Frances Ray's story a little bit more just because I felt like it was a little more steamy than the first one. Yeah. So nice shirt, Jessica. Look, I told you I was coming here today. Look.
They just put my order in.
Yes. It's there when you're ready.
I said let me represent today.
I know. It's like I got my hoodie on.
I got sidetracked on colors, and then I'm like, just get
Just
both.
Just press go.
I know, and that's the thing, because I already have a black hoodie, like a black regular Book Girl Magic hoodie that I got, for myself years ago. And then I got the purple shirt that Jess has on. So I was like, well, let me do the navy blue one. But I saw someone with the gray one on. They had posted a video on their page and they had the gray one on. And I was like, ooh, because I was going back and forth between that. I was like, yeah, I may have to go back and get the gray hoodie.
Now it's just a uniform.
Right. Right. I'm like, I'm coming through with sweatshirts all year, even in the summertime. We wearing sweatshirts.
But Jess, how was your trip?
Yeah, Mexico.
It was good. I was terrified the whole time.
Oh,
yeah.
I was so afraid to get back home. Like, so afraid to get back home. But I made it back.
Yeah,
the resort was very nice. It's called Unico. It's like an hour south of Cancun, but it's, all inclusive. And they really made you feel comfortable. Like, everybody's walking around with masks.
Well, it was probably nice to be like away.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it was. It was really nice. I got a little bit of a tan.
Yeah, you do look a little.
I browned up a little bit.
Yeah,
a little more melanated.
Right.
A little more melanated. Yeah, but it was really nice. The pool air. Now you did kind of have to. It was like fight to the death for seats at the pool, because it was like you had to get up. Like I would get up at 7 to go and put our stuff out, and seats were like
already taken. Wow.
Like, dang. But there were 7 of us, so it was kind of, it'll reserve a little bigger space. So if it had just been like 2 people, I would say it's more of a boo resort though. Because there's like a bathtub, like a jacuzzi on every balcony.
Oh wow.
Yeah, I'm like, I ain't really
get romantic with it, right?
Yeah. But it was still a good girls trip. And they thought so the group of my friends that went, our text thread is called Black Girl Magic.
Oh.
And they thought we were, I don't know if they thought we were the housewives or what, because everybody was like, oh, what's the occasion? I'm like, vacation.
Right.
It's like, y'all, like, we're not recording a reality show.
Exactly.
We're here for vacation. They're like, what are you here for? Vacation.
Right. Like, hello. Same reason you here.
Right, same reason. But we did we had color coordinated nights and stuff. But But it still doesn't mean like we're just here. We're just having fun. So
That's awesome. I'm supposed to go on a cruise next month, but I'm like, nah, man, we're not doing that.
I
There was a
wouldn't go.
report that came out with like 165 people or something that got infected on a cruise, and I was like, yeah, no.
Yeah.
And this is
No.
rescheduled from March of 2020. We had to book something by the 31st of last year, so we were trying to just reschedule it. And I'm like, yeah, we're gonna postpone this one more time, because I'm not feeling it.
We were going on an Alaskan cruise June of 2020. I need to check that credit, but I think it said it did not expire, like our deposit or whatever.
Yeah. And so, yeah, we've got to reschedule it, but it's like, I just don't feel comfortable anymore. And yeah.
Well, so and here goes my government, my policy, my lawyer brain. That's the problem when we don't have these mandates in place, because these businesses don't have any reason to not be flexible with you, because they're like, well, there's no government shutdown, there's no mandate, so you come or you lose your stuff.
That's it. Fortunately, Norwegian just put something out that you can reschedule, but you have to do it by the 31st of this month. So we will be jumping on that and just kind of see how the year plays out. And I don't know. I just wish they would just refund me my money, but they've lost a lot of money over the past year and a half. So they're not trying to give that back to me. So I'm like,
nobody is.
Anyways, welcome everyone. We'll kind of dive into this book club chat for You Make It Feel Like Christmas by Donna Hill and Frances Ray. Something different than what we've done in the past. We've not done a Christmas read, so that was kind of cool. And I kind of like the idea of doing that during December. Somebody else is trying to join. So that was really cool. Two very different stories. For me, I wasn't sure what to expect, because for me, it was the first time. Is that Miss Selena over here?
Yes,
hey.
I made it.
Yeah, welcome. Yeah, we're just we've been just talking, so I'm just getting started right now.
Cool.
So yeah, I wasn't sure what to expect from these two authors, just because I've never read a book by them. But yeah, they were both very interesting stories. So Rocking Around the Christmas Tree, for me, I was kind of like, ooh, she's playing with fire right now. Because when you throw out the word divorce right there, like as someone who's been through a divorce, I was like, honey, I know what you're trying to do, but and it fortunately worked out for her. But I'm like, when you throw those words out there like that, sometimes you can't come back. So it's like,
I thought that he was gonna say, okay.
Right.
Ew. Because the way he was explained in the beginning, he seemed very stubborn, very I'm gonna go against the grain, and he seemed very, in her words, he seemed very distant, like he was already out. So I'm like, you throwing that in there was super risky.
Yeah, I didn't like that one.
Yeah, it was kind of slow moving. Like for me, the second one was definitely they're two totally different stories. So I really like the second one, just because when I read romance novels, like I want to see the good parts and the racy stuff and what's happening between two characters. And the second one gave me a little bit of that. So the first one was kind of like, yeah, but it was a little slower.
It was very slow. And I felt like, sarcastically, the second one was more realistic, because as dominant as she said that man was, there was no way he was just gonna flip-flop and be like, oh, okay, baby, I'm just gonna
I see you with your sweatshirt on. Sorry, I thought something else, like she's got hers on too.
Hi everybody.
Hilarious.
But no, I just felt like, I was like, I don't like games.
Yeah.
Like, that's a big game to play.
Especially, right. And I was gonna say, especially one on that level. It was like
calling a realtor over and all that. I was like, this is too much.
Right. I was happy that she finally let her daughter in on it at some point. Because I was like, those kids were driving me crazy, because neither one of them appreciated her, and they're all about dad this and dad that. It was like literally she was like the servant in the house and was catering to everybody else's needs. So I was glad that she finally let the daughter in on that.
Well,
the daughter storyline,
daughter too, kind of helped her.
Yeah, and I actually like the daughter storyline of her marriage woes. Like that was interesting to me, probably more so than the rest of the storyline. Yeah, it was it was interesting, but I expected, I don't know, I just wanted something a little racier. That's just, when I look at romance novels and those types of books, like I want like the hot sex scenes and the breakup to make up.
And that's what I was when they kept leading up to it. Oh, he was gonna get her and leading up. So I was
like,
he's
at the right. He's at the door and then he's
belly
like,
dancing,
go back.
all of this stuff. And then
yeah, I'm like,
sorry, gotta go.
Like, let's just get to it.
I read that one while I was on the trip, and one of my friends was like, "Girl, why don't you just put that?" Because I kept saying, "This story is just." And she was like, "Are you still reading it?" I was like, "Well, I mean, I just gotta finish it, but
right,
it was dragging."
That's the only thing about book club reads is like it can drag, but you got to get through it, like because we have to discuss it. You need to know what's going on. So I'm like,
it was like actually the opposite for me. Like I didn't finish the second story, but I actually really, really liked the first one because I'm not into romance novels.
Okay.
And so maybe I wasn't looking for all of those aspects. And then I had just finished a Christmas novel, and I like that this one wasn't like heavy on Christmas, like, oh, it set itself back. Yeah. It started, kind of like a little bit before Thanksgiving. Mm-hmm. And I guess that I kind of felt like I could relate to Denise because I'm like, okay, you know what? I'm about to make you wish like that you appreciated me.
Yeah.
I've never been married, so I don't know if I would ever play the divorce card if I'm not serious.
Those are words you can't take back, man.
Right. And I do think that like she got lucky because he did really love her, thank God. But it didn't sound like he was kind of out the door. So I was really kind of interested to see how that was going to turn out. And then I really just saw a lot of people that I know, even like older people and some people my age, getting into these relationships a lot of time. Because I was trying to figure out what time frame was this that she's such a homemaker, you know what I mean? And I'm like, I know there are some people even in my generation who are still trying to kick that gender stereotype, and I'm like, don't come over here with it because I'm not gonna be happy homemaker. So I was really interested to see like her finally kind of them build the garage, because I was like, what are they working on for her? Like, I want to know what is
the belly dance and stuff.
Right. I was like, oh, okay.
Okay, the other part that made me mad was when he took her rings and gave her back the same rings. I'm like, you're not gonna
upgrade after all these years, right?
I was mad about that. I was.
I think I agree with Tallulah.
Right, I thought he would have gave a new ring because it's like I'm a new man. You don't think it's going to be a new kind of marriage? Yeah. I think maybe
that's what I was hoping for.
Well, he probably said, "You want to talk divorce? You take these old things back."
Yeah, right.
And then how she kept getting scared. I'm like, but this the game you wanted to play. When he took the ring, she was afraid that she'd never get him back. Well,
right.
You started.
I think for me, what I really liked about that story maybe was Aunt Etta. What was her name? Etta.
The aunt
like
and
those
uncle.
two to me, they were the most.
You know who they reminded me of? Like Mr. Brown and like that's what I was picturing in my head was the two of them like going at it.
That's what I was thinking too. Yeah.
But I hated the way that they treated him though. It was like he was still this little boy living in their house. Hey, it's 9 o'clock. Like it's past your bedtime. I didn't like that, but like
I liked it. I thought it was hilarious.
Yeah.
I loved when they told him to go to bed because they were about to get busy.
Right. That's why he had to go to bed.
That was my favorite part.
Their madness.
I was just shaking my head at those two. I'm like, bro, it's 9 o'clock and he's got to be in the house. Like, this is a grown man with his own house. Like,
in the bed, in the dark.
I wonder why he didn't just go to a hotel or somewhere. I'm like, why would you, like, you own this business, it's super successful, but you rather
afford it.
You have a twin size bed that you could probably try to get into, and then you have the 9 p.m. curfew.
Or even I guess it was to add another layer, but like even go stay with your daughter, like like she's separated from her husband, like y'all can switch places. She's staying at your house, you go stay at hers or something. Like the boys in the doghouse can go stay over here, and then the girls can be over here. Like,
but then I also like when because remember he said the son's place was very sketchy.
Yeah. Oh yeah. This is like the
his car was nice.
Right. The bachelor pad.
But I also like when they made mention of, because I think this happens a lot of time with us too. We have this whole idea of what we think our parents did was, or we have this idea of like what they did, the decisions they made, was it right, wrong? And he didn't know the truth about his father leaving, was actually a we decision. And I was like, wow, that kind of messed up his mind frame, because that's what made him be the man, like, oh no, I'm taking care of you. And I'm just thinking like, right, how sometimes we grow up with ideas, how damaging they can become in our adult life. So I thought about that.
Yeah, that's a good point.
I wonder too why
at least he found out and
bring that up to him earlier. Like when she finally kind of sat down and they were like, you should know this, but it's like he was gone over a month by the time they decided to kind of like really take a look at yourself and see, what your history's doing. Right. But I guess they tried to let him fend for himself at first, but he wasn't doing good.
Yeah, it was. I was glad, that they ended things well, because I was like, when she threw out that word, like when I read the description of the book, like I really thought that they were gonna get a divorce, like that's what it was, and maybe she was gonna find some new romance, and that'd be the story. Like I didn't think it was gonna be some mind game that she was playing the entire time. And
I assumed it was. I assumed that they would get back together, and I guess it's because it's a romance novel,
right?
So from the beginning, I assumed that she was just using that to try to make him see, okay, I feel unseen, and I get that, but
that's a lot.
That's a big one. That's a big game to play. You can't take that.
But at the same time, like I understood where she was coming from, because he wasn't listening to her. Like sewing is what makes her happy. That's what she wants to do. It's not killing anybody for her to be able to do this. And so it's like, just let her do it. Let her have a hobby and something to call her own. And he was like, absolutely not. Like, you're not doing this. This is your last dress.
Let them pay full price.
Yeah. It's like, if this is what she wants to do, then let her do it. And I
don't know what the solution is, but I was reading, and of course I finished the books and I missed the meetings, and the ones that I make, I don't finish.
You don't finish.
Lately, the last few, I'm like, okay, I finished it, and something comes up, I can't make it, but I was like, I'm coming tonight.
Yeah.
But I'm reading this and I'm like, gosh, this is such a such a drastic game to play. But then I'm like, what is the solution? He's not listening at all.
Yeah. Then he finally built her little workroom or whatever in the backyard and stuff, which I don't know how. Like, how is your backyard built that you couldn't see that happening in the, I know she's gone from the house, but for me, like I always look into my backyard. Like
but she was gone to the grocery store. Like she didn't really go anywhere where it took a lot of
time. She went to church and the grocery store, and she'll be back in a few hours. It's like, okay, but I still wouldn't notice that this thing is happening out in the back of my house. Like,
exactly. At least the materials.
Right. Something. And then
I thought this part was random was when they had him in the storm. Like I feel like that piece was just kind of thrown in there, and I'm not really sure if it was
why. Like you were stuck in the office.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
At that point, she was like, "Oh my gosh, he could have died. Come back home. Like I'm gonna end this, plot." And she didn't. Nobody even cared when he.
The only thing that I could think of is because he was a very private person when it came to his life and what was happening, and so his friend ended up spending the night with him in his office, and so maybe that was a way to kind of bond them and get them to like open up a little bit. I don't know, but it was completely random. Like this dude got hit by a speaker, and then all of a sudden he's got like a concussion. His concussion, and the two guys were like sleeping in chairs in the office together.
About that part.
I thought it also was kind of like the beginning part of him starting to open his eyes, because spending the night with William, he was like, oh no, I would rather die than than to be with this. And then also, because like you said, he was such a private person. It was like, are you going to let down this man notion and open up? Because that's the big thing. Like he was such a man, he had to live by certain things. So it's like, it kind of had to break him down into different points to see if he can be better.
Yeah.
But him getting hit in the head, I'm like, are y'all going to the hospital? Like, what?
what's really happening.
Just kind of ended there.
Mhm.
I forgot about that part. Yeah, I was wondering, okay, what
Well,
happened
did he
next?
have like
And never came back up.
what is that? I don't know. I guess he was knocked out or whatever.
Yeah. Got him. The speaker got him. Okay, and then so
Yeah, wait, no, go back to that real quick though. Because that was a really weird. Because then she said something about it being a hurricane, like oh, y'all know we're on a hurricane watch, like in November, December. I mean, it happens.
That's true.
And in Atlanta,
right.
And just all of a sudden you're like, oh, it's a hurricane coming. Like that was weird.
But wait, going along
Still
with
made it to the
details.
house. Like instead of bunkering down, they were like, no, we still gonna go.
We're gonna still
for the
hold this thing
holiday.
outside.
Right.
So like
Come
thinking about
early.
that, another detail that kind of threw me off at the very end when she was teaching or not teaching, she was sewing the costume for that Grambling student. Grambling is not in Atlanta, and the student was like,
not.
"Oh, I have class early in the morning," and I'm like, "Colleges are closed 2 days before Christmas break, and Grambling is not in Atlanta." I was like, "Did they mean like Clark, Atlanta?" Like,
Well, he
not
went to Grambling. The husband went to Grambling.
Yeah, he did.
But no, the girl, one of the girls.
I know, but that was just like it's like you can't think of another HBCU. Like,
Yeah, I was just
She's
like,
Grambling
I was
already.
like, I thought they were in Atlanta. That's what I thought. And then I'm like, when she said she had class early, I'm like, first of all, 2 days before Christmas. No, you
The
don't.
holidays, right.
And Grambling
Exactly.
is not, you
But
ain't
that was
going to
gonna be a
class.
real early drive.
Right.
Yeah, Grambling's 3 hours from me.
Right.
She was catching a flight to class.
Okay.
And then what happened with the son? Did he kick his girlfriend to the curb? Because all of a sudden he was interested in the
The
client.
other girlfriend, yeah. The
Right.
other girl, Carrie, yeah.
Like they didn't even mention that.
I think she said something to the likes of, once I saw him lay eyes on her, I knew she was done or whatever. So basically she inevitably got dropped. Just looking at the student. I think she mentioned it. I can't remember at what part. I think as he watched her come down the stairs or something.
After getting the fitting,
when
yeah.
she came- yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
They
Yeah.
just snuck it in.
Yeah. Real quick. And then The Wish. So for me, that was more my speed of the two stories. I really enjoyed that one with Nicholas, and I believe her name was Andrea. Yeah. It was, the whole grocery store scene was kind of weird, or like, where's this going? Or this lady like randomly tells him, or she's gonna grant him his wish, and so we go through this story of him not being a believer of this wish, and it was kind of weird because it's like, is this real life or is she like a fairy? In my head, I'm like, what? This lady's trying to grant him wishes and all this other kind of stuff. So I'm like, what exactly is happening in this book? But I definitely enjoyed the connection between the two of them. He was trying to deny what he was feeling for Andrea, and in her mind, she was feeling him, but at the same time didn't think that it was, mutual. So she's playing mind games in her head with all the stuff that's going on. And I always appreciate, that's one of my favorite tropes, I guess, with, rom-coms, is the fake dating. And then it becomes like the real thing. So many books I've read like that. So it's one of my favorite tropes to read about. But what were y'all's thoughts on The Wish?
I think I enjoyed it. I think the main thing that drove me crazy was the wish can't be used on the family. I'm like, I kind of got tired of her keep
saying that over and over again.
Yeah, because it's like, well, you can see obviously he has these feelings for you. You have these feelings. Maybe it's not just the wish, but she was like staying on that. Yeah, that was the only thing that kind of drove me crazy.
Yeah, because she said she's had like a dream, right, about the two of them and what was going to happen. So she knew that this was going to happen. So the whole time she's like letting this play out. Even her niece or whatever is like, oh, it's not going to be me. Like nobody, like just tell her. Like,
yeah,
I saw this vision and this is what it's going to be. So stop being paranoid. Because at the end of the day, like, I just feel like the girl went through so much when it could have just been like, you're the girl I saw in my vision. Just ride it out. He's going to come back to you. But I guess, he had to add some type of conflict to the story.
Yeah. I felt like it was a little rushed. Like some of it could have played out a little more. It's just like boom, boom, boom. Okay, he didn't come back. Oh no, he's back, and we're gonna get married. Like it was a
right.
lot.
And I guess because she only got like 100 pages to write her story, I'm like, y'all could split this book in half. Like we could have shortened the first story. That's like I have so many questions about that story and how and when it was written. Like, is this
but
just
it truly played out like a movie. Like you could see it. When he all of a sudden the wish, and then he's walking in the hospital, and all these ladies are like, "Ooh, Nicholas." I'm like, oh, I could see this in a scene.
And you're right, because
like
I was watching all the Hallmark and Lifetime movies. I was reading it, so it really could have been one of those type of movies.
It could have definitely been a Hallmark movie.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So I'm just. It was. I enjoyed it a little bit more than the other one for sure. But like I said, I have so many questions about Frances Ray. Like she passed in 2013. So again, like, I mean, this story to me seemed like it could be modern day, right? Like it didn't seem like it was something that was written that long ago, like almost, 10 years ago. So,
we don't know when she wrote it.
There was no color TV.
That's true.
Hitting like little things like that, because now we're so into our social media and what is everybody watching and streaming. So that was the only thing that made me think that it was a little more aged. Now, of course, you can have an appreciation for those things, but it just that part seemed different.
Yeah.
Yeah, like they definitely didn't have no flat screens back then.
Right. So I'm like, I have so many questions because in my mind, I'm picturing it as something that's happening right now. And like, I felt like the hospital scene when he first walked in there and all those women were just like, hey, like, I thought that was hilarious. I would love to have seen this as a movie, actually, because I think it would would play out really well. But that was hilarious because he's like, what's going on? Like, why is everybody talking to me more than usual? And
I didn't feel like they explained the wish list enough.
I agree. It was kind of like everybody's
top of the list.
Yeah, it's like everybody keeps making this bid. He's at the top of the list. I'm like, okay, well, what's the history behind the wish? And like for it to be, I felt like for them to be in a hospital, like you would think that our wish would be something a little more serious. Like not that I want to date some guy. Like it would be, this person needs a kidney or, just something that would pertain to somebody in the hospital. And so when it was like, oh, he's on the wish list for this to be dated, like it was kind of crazy to me. And then like she could have, the aunt could have stopped all of this mayhem by just speaking on who the lucky lady was. I'm like, you guys went through all of this, all these women hitting on him, trying to take him to lunch and doing all of this stuff, and it was like, you knew the whole time that it was your niece, and your niece is out here stressing out. And it was a lot. And the creepy doctor who wanted her. Yeah, I didn't like him at all. I didn't either.
He was super forward.
Yep. It was like Nick didn't believe in this wish, but nobody else could have her either. So it was, one of those tropes that you love to see. The hate to love relationships. Whatnot. But I it was a decent read. Like I said, I think the first story was kind of just drawn out a little bit for me. Like that book could have been cut in half and then we could have had a longer second story. But again, who knows how long ago the second story was written and how they even found it to be able to, because I think this book just came out in the fall, I think. Oh, wow. I have to look at it because when I looked at the release date, I think on Amazon, like I think it had just come out not too long ago. Or maybe not. Maybe I'm lying about that. The first edition, no, it says 2021. But okay, so this was published in 2021, but the story, You Make It, or Rocking Around the Christmas Tree, the copyright is 2003. And Frances Ray, The Wish, was copyright 2002.
Wonder why they decided to combine these two books. Right. I mean, these two stories. That's interesting. Because they don't go together at all.
Yeah. I guess one was supposed to be from like a marriage point of view, and maybe one with like a single point of view to kind of try to maybe reach more readers, relate to more readers. I don't know.
Yep.
But I have a really, I don't know if it's a bad habit because I feel like it makes me read more books, but I don't look at the synopsis or the summary anymore. Like I just look at the cover, look at the title, and I begin reading. I go into it blindly because I'm like, if I start reading all these little details, I don't want to. So I didn't even realize. I guess I barely looked at the cover because I didn't even realize it was two stories.
I think I knew it was two stories, but I thought they were related because I don't think I read the back of the I think I thought they were related, and I thought the authors wrote them together. Not that it was like two wholly separate. And so when I started reading the second one, I was like, well, who are these people?
Right. What's going on? This is completely different from this.
Well, no, when I got to like the end of the first story and I was only at 63%, I was like, what's going on with the rest of the book?
Right.
And I was like, wait, there's a whole nother book back here. I was like, oh, okay.
Right.
That was an interesting experience to have.
Yeah.
You know, I've read the joint books where two authors are writing one story.
Yes, Christina Lauren is a good example if you've ever read any of their books. That's actually two authors with one name. Their pen name is Christina Lauren. So if you enjoy rom-coms, that's a good one. I've only read one by them, which is The Honeymooners. That's a pretty good one. It's basically something happens with the bride and groom. They either don't get married or something like that, but they have this honeymoon that will go to waste. So they send the best man and the maid of honor on this honeymoon, and they hate each other, like absolutely despise each other. And so it goes from, the trope of hating to loving each other. And they have quite a few other books that I haven't gotten into yet. I just don't have time, but yeah. It was very different from what I expected this to be. It was like two completely different stories. I don't know.
Yeah, it's like we should count this as two books.
Right.
Two
books by two black women.
Jessica, that's two books.
Donna and Frances Ray write together, and they usually add Brenda Jackson because they've been doing it for years. And they have several old Harlequins back in the 90s.
Wow. So they write like a joint, not disjointed like this one.
A lot of the Harlequins, what they used to do for when my aunt used to read Harlequins, they would have different authors in the books. And so I just looked because I remembered them writing together. So in 94, they've had a couple, and then they had Brenda Jackson.
Wow. Okay. I'll have to look into those. Because I like for me, Blackout, if y'all read that, like I like the way that flowed. It was different stories, but it was like the same event, and every story was, around that. And even some of the characters kind of crossed over into
Blackout was good. Blackout was good.
Yeah, that's
let me add that to my TBR that's growing over here.
And it's a YA, so it's a quick read.
Yeah, that's on I was making my top 10. Well, it's more of like a top 14 list, but my favorite reads of 2021, that's what I'm going to call it because it's way more than 10 books, but that was on my list as one of my favorites. There's so many.
I know 2021 was a good reading year.
Well, I guess we were so stressed out. The best thing to do was to read.
Right. That's all we had.
I know at the rate of all of these sales on the books, 2022 is gonna double in the amount that we've read. Every day somebody puts a link, I'm like $2. Can't beat that.
That's what'll get you is those ebooks.
But then they've got all these good new, what was it like? You posted 69 new books. But I mean,
and I actually was going before I started going through that list a couple of hours ago because I'm trying to nail down some more books for 2022. And so I was trying to see like the times that they were coming out just so I could kind of map them out to be, see if I could get them to align. But yeah, there's so much good stuff. Mia Sosa. So I'm going to try to highlight Afro-Latina authors this time around because I've never done that. So Mia Sosa, because I really enjoyed The Worst Best Man. I read it last year, the beginning of the year last year, and her book was really good. And she has like, it's everything I want in a rom-com, like the really hot sex scenes and things like that. Like there's no limit for her. So it's like, it's rom-com in a way, but it's like Jasmine Guillory, but like Yeah, she goes
Like
wild
Tia-
with those scenes. Yeah.
Tia
And so-
Williams, that was the first kind of. I closed my book on the plane. I was like, oh,
Looking over your shoulder.
you reading this?
Yeah.
Tia Williams.
It was my
Yes.
Kindle,
Let
but
me
that
write
was
that
on the
down.
I love
For the
Tia.
Perfect
Yeah,
Find.
The
I
Perfect
was like,
Find. We read
oh.
that a couple of years ago, and it was really good. I'm probably gonna reread that because I think it's being made into a film.
Which one?
Yeah,
The
it is.
Perfect
Gabrielle
Find.
Union.
Yeah,
is
is producing it or whatever. Yeah, directing it.
I don't know if I can give her another chance because I did not like 7 days.
The Perfect Find is better to me than
The Perfect Find was good.
The Perfect Find was
you
better.
didn't like The
I
Perfect Find.
started reading 7 days in goddamn August, and I just finished December 31st. My friend was like, "It's 7 days, not 7 months."
No, give
Oh,
The
I
Perfect
love
Find.
Perfect Find
it.
is much better.
It's
Okay.
different. It's totally
Really?
different. It's rom-com. It's not.
I'm not even into romance novels a whole lot. I mean, I'm not against them. I just don't really read them a lot
Yeah.
unless they have hot sex scenes in them.
Right. Look,
but
I'm
yeah,
putting
7
Mia
days I
Sosa
thought
on
was
that
so
list.
good. I was like,
Yeah.
this is a good way to get me back into reading romance.
Mhm.
I loved it.
The Perfect
7 Days
Find.
was heavy, but The Perfect Find was rom-com. It was
And I
good.
think Jenna is in her 40s. Is that how old she was in The Perfect Find?
I don't think she was at all.
She was older than I
Yeah.
think, and I can't remember her exact age, but basically she's entering kind of like Tia Williams, where she's in the beauty world and she's got this job and she kind of falls for, is it her boss's son?
Mhm.
Yeah, she falls for this younger guy, much younger guy, which happens to be her boss's son, and she doesn't, and her and her boss are kind of like enemies, like they don't like each
Yeah.
other. So it's just like this whole storyline. It was really good.
What's the name of
Yeah.
the book?
The
The
Perfect
Perfect
Find.
Find.
I think
I
have it
haven't
here.
read her other book, Accidental Diva. I haven't read that one.
I've seen that title. I haven't
Didn't
read
she come and talk to us?
Yeah, she did. But I'm
Okay.
gonna say, as a person who's older than most of you, who has
Got
a
it.
son that would be that age, it wasn't a good storyline for me. Because I think I'd have had to come for her coming after my baby.
Listen,
Now
and
say
I get
again
that
now.
because-
What was that?
I get that because, like, for me, I love Jasmine Guillory, but the Royal Holiday was so hard for me to get through because I felt like I was reading about my mom falling in love, and that just wasn't cutting it for me. I'm like, it was like verbatim. Her mom was like, I think she was maybe in her 60s. I don't remember how old she was,
Yeah.
but it's like, and it just, I mean, there were some scenes in there, but it just wasn't cutting it. I felt like it just wasn't the Jasmine Guillory that I usually love. And so I've kind of actually backed off of Jasmine. I've read like her books that she's come out with since, but for me, like the craze and how much I was like obsessed with her, she
Kept the
lost me
Royal
after that
Holiday.
one. Yeah.
I read Royal Holiday during Christmas last year, sitting by the tree, and it was cozy. It wasn't.
All I
I
could
think
picture was
it
my
might have
mom.
been yeah, it felt. I guess
All I
my
could
mom
picture
was
was my
older.
mom the whole time, and I'm just like, oh, make it stop. Like I couldn't get that out of my head. Like I couldn't, and it was a wrap for me. I couldn't.
Yeah.
I did not. I hated to like write a review about that book because I adore her so much. Like,
And I remember you telling me that, and I read it, and I was like, "Oh, it's cute."
I was like, I
Now,
couldn't get with it.
I'm older, so I enjoyed Royal Holiday and the first story in
The Wedding
the
Date.
book we just read.
Okay.
Um,
yeah.
Yeah, and I think Rock Around the Christmas Tree.
Mhm.
And I'm not into romance either. And I read all the Jasmine Guillory books, but the Royal Holiday was the one I liked the best, actually. And I think it was because I liked the mature romance of it all.
I was gonna say,
as well
and
as
that-
the Rocking Around the Tree.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And I was going to say, it's going to hit people differently depending on who you are, what's happening in your life. You know, the age could be a relatable thing. Like, for me, and I'm sure everybody loved this book, like a book that really hit me. I think we read it in 2020, Waiting to Exhale. Like every character in that book was exactly the same age that I was at the time we were reading it a couple years ago. And like, I was going through the same dating woes. I'm like, man, this shit was written in the early 90s and I'm still going through this today. Like it's 2020 and I get like
it's the time lapse.
Right. But the women were like the same exact age that I was reading. I was like, oh, holy cow, like me and Whitney Houston's character were the exact same age. Like it was crazy to me. And I just found it so relatable. So I get that in, you know, depending on, you know, who you are, how old you are, like some books are going to be more relatable to you than others. So
I think I like The Royal Holiday because I love Downton Abbey and Bridgerton, and so it had that, you know, the castle and the whole, and I was like, oh, this is, I liked it. I know they was like, oh God, I was like, well, I'm gonna go ahead and read it, and I was like, it's cute.
Yeah, because we usually have the same taste, but see, I've never seen Downton Abbey. I've seen Bridgerton, but that was after reading that book. So yeah, maybe that would have had I would have had a different take and appreciation for that. But yeah, it was like, yeah, the terminology, some of the things that they were saying, I was just like, I couldn't. I couldn't. So
gotta check out one of her books at least.
Jazz was good.
Jasmine Guillory. I think my favorite still is The Wedding Date, which is the first one.
Yes. I heard a lot about that book.
I like that one.
The Wedding Date, and then The Wedding Party is probably my second favorite. All of them kind of have the same characters that appear in the book. It's The Wedding Date, The Proposal, and then I think
The Wedding Party and Party of Two.
Party of Two comes after that. Party of Two, no, it's The Royal Holiday, then Party of Two, and then
I don't think
whatever this one is. While we were
I
dating.
still haven't read that one or Party of Two.
Yeah, see, we done fell off of Jasmine. We used to love it.
For some reason, I like if I'm reading a romance book, I like for it to be those really, really short ones on Kindle Unlimited.
You mean like Mia Black?
Or like Christina C. Jones?
Familiar.
I like Mia Black.
I don't read a lot of them though, but once I get to about October, November, and I see I need a few more books.
You start throwing them.
And I throw 2 or 3 of those in there.
Yeah, see, I haven't done that. I didn't do that last year, but like this year, I read some poetry that was like 100 and some pages. I was like, yeah, we're gonna start incorporating some of these shorter books. Because I'm like, have y'all seen? I don't know if you follow Anna Isaac, but she had like 355 books read in 2021. I'm like,
I missed her post about that because I've been waiting.
She posted somewhere. Wow. I don't know where it was that I saw that, but she read 355 books
that's almost a book
last
a day.
Year.
That's what she does.
But that's literally, she made a post saying that she's not committing to like any challenges because she does a lot of book club reads, challenges, things like that. She said she's not committing to that simply because like she literally has no time to do anything else. Like, I don't even know how she's running a business. She's got a cute little business where she's selling like book paraphernalia and stuff like that she's running now. But she said she's going to cut back on like not sticking to any kind of like just reading whenever, because she's like, I need time for more hobbies and stuff. Because I'm like, you literally have to be sitting in the house all day. And I know the type of work that she does is like IT. So she's only on call and needed like in certain moments, but when she's not, she's reading. Like even when she was in the office, she has books with her and she's reading all day. So I'm like, yeah, I ain't got that kind of job where I can just read all the time, or like kids sports and travel. Like I am at practices 4 to 5 days a week, if not at tournaments. So there's no way. Like I wish I had time to read like that, but I'm like, yeah, you don't have time for anything else. You're just reading all the time.
She reads like that, and Rod Kelly reads like, but Rod still only read like 150 books, and Rod reads like, well, and Anna does
books.
too.
She does too, though.
They both read huge books. I'm like, yeah, y'all read 150 books? Well, Rod. And Anna, I'm like, I'll never. Like,
I think the most I've gotten in a year was like 58. I mean, this year I read 34, I think, but that was with like not reading for 2 months this summer, so at all. So yeah, that's a lot of reading. Like I'm disciplining myself to sit down and read, but it's hard when I have the TV there and I'm like, like I'd much rather be watching this on Netflix than reading. I mean, there's just, other things.
Stopped doing goals for that reason. Like when I first was like, oh, I'm loving reading again. Because, you know, like after a while, like life just kind of takes over. You may not read as much. And so when I got really back into it, but I stopped doing the goals because I'm like, well, I don't want to just do a goal just to hit it. because then I'll lose, like the love that I have, and I start feeling the pressure. Like I gotta get
exactly. And that's exactly. I stopped doing a reading goal probably 2 or 3 years ago. So I set mine to 12. So I can at least read a book a month, but I know I'm going to reach that, right? Anything beyond that is wonderful. But the anxiety that it gave me setting a goal to like 30 or whatever, I'm like, I don't like that feeling. I want to read for fun, not to hit some stupid goal.
Oh,
So
and Goodreads is so mean to you. Like you're 3 books behind schedule.
right. You're 30% behind your goal right now. I'm like, man, leave me alone.
Funny thing is, mine at 25 every year. I set it for 25, but I also know in my head I want to do 40.
Yeah,
because
I set it for 40.
I passed it. I think it was 30 something.
Yeah.
And I started doing 40 every year. And this past year, I barely hit 25.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It was a rough
I set it for 40. I set it for 36 last year. I was like, 3 a month, I can do that. And I read 41. So I was like, you know what? But I got a lot going on.
It depends if you
keep and I haven't finished the book yet.
Lengthy books, because that love songs, the W. Du Bois.
That's why I've not read that one, which I'm going to. I like it. That's on my list to probably read next month. 1619 is on my book, but I haven't touched it because I know. And then Barack Obama's book, I've not touched that one either because they're so long. And I'm like, I could be reading like 3 other books in the time that I finish this. So it's like, but I'm going to.
That you said that, I think I missed, because I finished that book last year, but it didn't show up on my. I don't think it showed. I might not have counted and finished.
Yeah.
Which one?
Go back and edit it.
Barack Obama's.
Yeah, I put my 29 hours.
That's what I did with W.E.B. Du Bois.
Long-winded.
Yeah.
I could not. So I did a experiment of me reading along with him and like reading at my speed versus him reading in my ear. And I was like,
oh no, you gotta set him to like 1.5. That's why I set everybody to like 1.5 or higher, because I need to get like through the book. And for certain parts, like Will Smith, I had to like slow it down a little bit at certain parts because I'm like, he's rapping, but I'm like, it's going so fast that I need to slow it down so I can hear this part and then speed it back up.
I can't listen to him.
That was a good one.
Oh God, I loving Will's book. When I sat down and Jessica was talking, I heard you say something about somebody being aggressive, and I thought, oh no, this is not about Will. Because I had just been listening to it like an hour ago, maybe.
Oh, it's so good.
Oh, we're not discussing Will.
It was. It really
Such a good book. Such a good book. And that's my goal for 2022 is to read more by Black men. Because I was like, I only read 4 books by Black men, and Will was one of them. But I'm like, okay, this year, I mean, like, because I don't know if y'all have seen the challenge, the 20 books by Black women or whatever. And I'm like, we've been doing this over here. Like, y'all want some Black women recommendations? Like, we've been doing this for years. Come see us, you know? But I was like, that's honestly not my problem, because I think I read like maybe 27 out of my 34 books were by Black women. So I'm like, that's definitely not my problem. But in looking at my numbers, I was like, oh, I'm really lacking when it comes to Black men. Like, so I just posted a post today, and it's got like hundreds of comments of people putting recs on there for Black men. So
I saved it so I could get some of those.
Yeah,
40 acres is gonna
my goal is 12, at least a minimum of 12, but I'm gonna try to shoot for maybe 20 Black
40
men.
acres was good. I need to reread that one.
Somebody else like they kept putting that on there.
Oh God.
I listened to
but I had a hard time at first.
I was disappointed because I read his other book, The Unkind, what is it? The Unkind Hours. And that book had me like stressed for like 5 months after. I mean, it's such a good book. And so I was like, oh yes, same author. And I was like, oh, okay.
I didn't like it.
But and it's funny because I don't know if I haven't seen people really mention The Unkind Hours. And I'm like, maybe I need to be his promoter and be like, because I'm in another book club, and that was my book club choice that I had chose. And I was like, oh, I'm gonna win book of the year, whatever, book choice of the year. But I mean, it was okay, but I think his book, The Unkind Hours, is better.
I look that one up. I think I listened to 40 Acres and I want to read it.
I think that's the
I
problem.
read that
I
one.
need
I
to
didn't listen to
read
it.
it, not listen to it.
Yeah,
I
don't
had
listen
a
to it.
hard time at first. I was like, oh my God, this is so wrong. This is so wrong.
It was wrong.
But the more I read it, I
good.
was like, oh, this is good.
I'm gonna add that one to the list because that was one on there. The Prophets, What Doesn't Kill You Makes You Blacker. A couple people put Book of Night Women, which I need to read Marlon James. Like I have A Brief History of Seven Killings up there. Like there's so many books I have by him, but I have not read one.
There an author? Is it Brandon Massey or something like that? Y'all heard of him?
What's the name of the book? No.
He's got a bunch of books.
It's 40 Acres, Dwayne Alexander Smith.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I'm trying.
So that's on my list because I saw a few people put that 40 Acres down. Memorial by Brian Washington. Blacktop Wasteland, James McBride. Long Way Down, Jason Reynolds. Friday Black.
Did they put A Lucky Man on there?
One person did.
That's a really good. It's short stories, but they are very good.
Okay.
Jessica, I was going to tell you, don't read the quiet ones if you read Brandon Massey.
Okay.
Don't read that.
I read that one or not.
Did anybody read Broken Crayon Still Color? That was a really good one.
Yeah,
that's David Weaver. And a matter of fact, speaking of book club, let me take my background off. We because we always try to do like some kind of activity, and we read it years ago. And why can't I get? And we made like this pencil thing. Scroll all the way up, and so we had like these glass jars and these crayons, and we made like a ribbon. So I have all my like nice little pins in here. Broken Crayon Still Color. So that was a really good book.
That's cool.
And that's by a Black man, David Weaver.
Mm-hmm. What was the one by Brandon Massey? Somebody said not to read.
I said, don't read the quiet ones.
Okay.
Is that bad?
I didn't like it, but everybody said they like all of his other books because I'm in another book club.
And
but I know I usually read Walter Mosley because I love his books.
That's another one that kept popping up too, is Walter Mosley.
You have to start with the beginning one with the colors and go through.
Okay.
I haven't read Walter Mosley in a while.
I've never read Walter Mosley.
I've read a few. I've seen them on Overdrive because I use Overdrive a lot. Well, was before I started spending all coins.
Sorry.
I use that a lot, especially if I have like a lot of stuff already. I'm like, okay, I can read that free or whatever. But he came up a lot on that app for me for free books. But that's also based on your library. So
yeah, where I live,
I have 2 libraries I use.
I know I need to get somebody else's because like in Atlanta, because the selection out here in the suburbs, that ain't it. Like most of the stuff that I want.
And it's not great, but I bought a library card in Charlotte. I just started looking. I think somebody had suggested in some Facebook group or something. And so I was like, well, let me check Charlotte. And they said, yeah, you can buy it. It's $25, $30 or something. It's supposed to be annual, but they haven't billed me again.
Wow. That's pretty cool though.
Mm-hmm.
It's not a bad idea. So I was like, I bet if I get one in Atlanta, I'll get every Black book I want.
All the books.
Right.
Just don't use it because such enablers in this group.
Listen, if to be honest, since that Barnes and Noble sale, I've probably bought a book every single day since that sale.
I'm done with your suggestions with buying books, Renee, because you made me go to Barnes and Noble twice.
Me too. I was in there 2 times.
I wasn't gonna go.
Grace was I was in Mexico.
Birthday, we had lunch. She said, "Let's stop by the mall." I said, "Okay." I'm like, not thinking of Barnes, and where did she park? In front of Barnes and Noble. I was like, it was meant to be.
Yeah, there was just a couple of books I had on my radar that I knew, even on Amazon, like the Love Songs with W.E. Du Bois. Like I knew it's $22 on Amazon, and I had bought it the day before, and then I went into the store and got it for $14.50. So I was like, okay, return that book. Yeah, there was just some couple ones that I couldn't pass up.
Some you had to get because the Project 1619, that one was still $20 on the sale, and I didn't realize it because I asked the lady and she was like, "Oh, well, there's one, but I don't know where it is." Like sometimes if it's not where it's supposed to be, And so she said, I can order it for you. And then of course, as soon as I got home, she called. She was like, oh, I found him. And so I had to go back. So that was the problem. When I went back, I was supposed to buy the one book. I bought 4 more.
Yeah. That was me. I got into the YA section.
From the checkout. I didn't even leave the checkout line. They were behind the thing. I was in that one.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I was happy to get that one because I'm like, I wouldn't have paid $40 for it if it.
And that's the thing. Like bookstores, their books are usually regular price. So I'm like, I don't know how people just come into Barnes and Noble and like buy books on a regular basis at $30-something. Because I'm going to Amazon. Like I know people are all like, support independent bookstores, blah blah blah, which I try, but like. It gets expensive. I mean, I was like, I can't lie. At the rate that I buy books, like Amazon just works for me. It's cheaper to pay $15 for a book than go to an independent bookstore, pay $25, and then have them ship it to you for another $5. It's like, I'm spending $30. Like, I love to support you, but
when my heart tells me to support, then I take a trip, and then all the other books I have to buy a different way. Because you're right, I support a Black owned bookstore here. I already had to drive 30 minutes to get to it. Then I got there. And so then you feel pressure because you're like, well, I don't want to not get something, like you drove and you're in there. And it was a quick like $100. And I'm just looking at the bag like
where all the books exactly. Like the pile of books that I've bought in the past, I probably spent less than $150, but I've gotten a ton of books because of that sale and stuff. But I was like, I couldn't come to Barnes and Noble on a regular, day and just spend $30 on a book. Especially, see, my biggest problem is because of Book Girl Magic, I get a lot of stuff free. So paying for books is very hard for me because I can't like free versus like paying $30. It's like, it's hard for me to do. So I'm a little bit spoiled in that aspect. So Amazon is usually my go-to if I have to absolutely purchase something, but it's hard.
And see, for me, like as a teacher, I always tell them that I love to read. So they always buy me like book store certificates. And a lot of them being here in Atlanta, they like to support the smaller bookstores. I actually have like 2 or 3 for the smaller bookstores. But this year my class went out early because we had a COVID case. And I was like, as bad as I felt about that child having a COVID case, I was like, so I'm not gonna get my gift cards though? Like, my gift cards? Like, I want, and I was so mad. I'm like, man.
You're like, here's my email, here's my address.
Right, send it electronically.
I think them parents were stressed out. I tried to put a little thing on Facebook like, hey, Barnes and Noble sale,
Right.
Email a sister.
You want to send me something, go ahead and do it.
Like, because I know one of my friends, she's an art teacher. So in the beginning of the year, she had like a wish list on Amazon. So maybe you have a book wish list.
Yeah, I usually use that for my like fun pens, my stationery. And I mean, my parents have been pretty good, but I was just like, what do you mean? You're shutting my class down? They was like, ma'am, you have a COVID case. I was like, no, I haven't gotten my presents yet. Like, hold on.
Right. That's hilarious. So we're getting close to wrapping up time. So what is everybody reading right now?
Seeking Sarah.
Which Saving Sarah?
Seeking Sarah.
Seeking Sarah.
It's really good. In my
like I don't have enough books on my TBR list.
What you got there, Jess?
My son daily.
Oh, is that by Vex? Wait, who is that
by Layla Delia.
I feel like I have that book.
Vibrate Higher Daily.
Let me check my Kindle right quick.
You probably do have it. You probably made me buy
it. It's on here, but I don't know if I have it. Let me see. No, I don't. But I've seen that one. I'm currently reading The Personal Librarian.
Oh,
so far so good.
Yeah. Okay, I'm picking that up this month too for my side piece book club.
Did you get the ebook when it was on sale?
A friend of mine gifted it to me when it first came out.
Somehow I have the ebook. I don't even remember posting that anywhere, but I have it. So that's how I'm reading it, is through the ebook right now. But
I started Unprotected.
Who's that by?
Billy Porter.
Oh, his memoir. Yeah, I passed that up on Barnes and Noble a couple times. I was looking at it like,
yeah,
that's on my list. So that might be another one by.
I think I added it to my list.
Black man that I could read.
I think I may do that one on Audible. But this one that I'm reading now, my son wants to listen to it, and we only listen to it in the car, and we're virtual this week. And I'm like, dang, we probably could have been done with this book.
Hilarious.
But it's really good so far.
Yeah, I just finished. I read so far this year An American Marriage. I reread that. The second book I read was Finna. So I have one book by Black male that I've read already this year. And now I'm reading The Personal Librarian. So I don't know, maybe I'll have time to finish one more in between our January book of the month. Yeah, if it'll ever come in. By Miss Tabitha Brown. I'm excited to read that, actually. I can't wait to get to it, but I have to wait until closer to chat time so I know what the heck I'm talking about. But
And
I'm excited.
Reading Elin Harris.
Yes, this weekend, that is the plan, because we're reading the first 3 chapters, right? I've never read an Elin Harris book, so
Really?
never.
I have them all downstairs.
Wow. Yeah, so what was it? Invisible
Life.
Yeah. So we're reading that one. So I'll read that one this weekend and have it done. Because I think we're reading the first 3 chapters. What'd you say?
Your side piece club, as Jessica said, has one.
I got my side piece club.
Well,
they wanted more Black men. I was like, hey, let's
Magic.
do a tribute.
Yeah, this is a group within Book Girl Magic that kind of everybody wanted to read books by him. So I was like, well, I'm in at least for the first one. It's hard for me to commit to like everything, but we can add you to the group.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, it's another group.
It's a chat. It's a chat. No. Like we have a Instagram or a Facebook chat, so we can add you to that if you want to be added.
Gotcha.
I'm only jumping in for the first one because I can't. There's too many books. I can't commit to like.
You were trying to have us read Eric Jerome Dickey.
Yeah, it's like I've never read him either. Actually, yes, I have. I've read Milk in My Coffee. I think.
Oh, that's
I have that upstairs, but I think that's the only. I have to go back and look.
I like his earlier books.
Me too.
Some of the later ones are like.
A lot of people talk about that Solomon book.
It's okay. I like Milk in My Coffee, Secret, the very first couple.
Yeah.
Like the Audible for Mrs. Suleiman was good, but it was just like the story.
Yeah.
Has anybody read Cup of Love? I can't remember who wrote that. That was by a Black man.
I think I have.
Franklin, I think it was.
Nope, I haven't.
No.
Interesting.
My side piece book club is like the new saying is they're reading Black Girls Must Die Exhausted, but I read that one already. So I've been just trying to join because they meet twice a month, like half the book, the other. So yesterday we had it. Yeah, so I had to be quiet a lot since I read the whole thing.
I just finished that. It was pretty good. I wasn't expecting it to be as good as it was, but yeah.
There's a chat on our YouTube from like, I think we read it maybe 2 years ago. It was when it first came out and Jane was self-published, and we did Queenie, and then we read her book simultaneously. So she actually came on and we discussed Queenie and her book, but that's when she was still self-published and doing everything herself. So now like what y'all are seeing is her contracted with a publisher. Yeah, she's got a book deal now, and so it's now coming out again. But yeah, there's a chat with her that I did. She was probably the first author that I got to like come on live with me.
Somebody sent me her new book. I guess it was the publishing folks. I mean, not the new book.
The new version of it.
Yeah, and I was glad they did because I had given away. I loaned, and I was like, it's not coming back. Loaned it to one of my little mentees.
It's funny because I like the first cover better than the one that's the pink one that she has now.
The pink one.
Yeah, I don't even know where that book is, upstairs somewhere, I guess. I don't know where it's at. But yeah, I have 2 copies of the new one, so I just have too many books.
You do the rainbow organization for your book?
Look,
yeah,
I agree. I got to get back here and do something about it. It's getting out of control.
Yeah, I have 2 linen closets literally full. No linens in it whatsoever. It's just books piled up. All the shelves are full, and so now I'm just making piles on the floor. I'm like, okay, like we got to do something because I just, it's too much, but
I went to ebooks because I started running out of bookshelf space, and
yeah, I tried to do that too, but like,
so I'm like, okay, ebooks.
see, but like photographically, I have to have a physical copy to like take pictures. So the love songs of W.E.B. Du Bois, I have the physical copy. I had the audio first, then I went and got the physical copy last week, and then I bought the ebook today because why not? Like it was $7.99, so I said why not? But honestly, I listened to the audio and then the physical, but that book is 800 pages, like, and it's so heavy. So I was like, having the audiobook and then being able to highlight stuff would be awesome. So I'm the ebook. So
is the Audible good?
People say it is.
Yeah, I listened to the audio and I had to break it up though, because it's so long. I read other books in between listening to that. So I stopped, took a break. Plus it's so heavy to me and I'm very empathetic, I guess. So I had to step away for a minute, get my feelings together, and then come back to it. So it's heavy.
I had it on the overdrive and they expired me. I had to get it again. I'm like, wait, that wasn't done. Like,
I struggle with novels.
Yeah, it's like 29 hours, so I'm trying to find a good time to read. I know it's going to be read this year because so many people have said great things, but I've just got to find a time to like 29 hours.
Have you been a part of the 1619 discussion?
I can't, it's so, that's heavy and long, and then the love songs is heavy. I have to mentally like get in a space to, that's why I haven't read Barack Obama's. I have it, but and I have the audiobook actually.
And Barack's book is very good, but it's very drawn out.
That's what I'm saying. Like, I haven't finished the last 3 Harry Potter books because those are like 25 plus hours each. And I just don't, in my head, I could read 3 books in the time that I read that one. And it just doesn't make sense. So I just stay away from them. So I don't know. I'm going to have to crack down though and do these big books. But
have you read anything by Daniel Black?
Yep. The Perfect Peace. Yeah.
Listening to the Lambs is good too.
He's got one coming out. I just saw he posted that he's got another one coming out. So
we had him at a book club meeting. He's pretty cool. Yeah. All his books are interesting.
From Atlanta. Yeah. Awesome. Well, cool beans. We all know Feeding the Soul by Tabitha Brown is our next book club read. So we'll see y'all in about a month to talk about that one. I'm excited. She's blown up.
Yes.
Very
like
good,
a restaurant now too.
Yeah. I love that.
Yeah, I love it.
Yeah, me too. So I'm excited because I think the audio is on the Audible is on Scribed. So I'm gonna listen to it so I can hear her voice. I started
reading it when it came out.
Yeah.
And then I said, well, let me pause it since I figured I think he told me that. And so then I got the Audible. I said, let me listen. I want to listen to her because I could hear her while I was reading it.
I get distracted though. Something's wrong with me. When I hear like the people that actually it's their book, I get distracted by it.
Really?
I didn't know if I should get the Audible or not. It's same thing for Will. I have the physical.
Will's was fantastic.
Yes.
It is.
Highly recommend that. That one and Mariah Carey's memoir, like those two. Like I was a big Mariah Carey fan back in the day. Like I had cassette tapes and CDs and stuff like that. But
I'm ready to put some butterflies on the wall. You know, you go back to thinking about it.
And hearing her sing on that, like those are the best kind of audibles. Like when Will Smith is rapping on his, or you can hear like the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air intro and stuff like that. To me makes it the sound effects and stuff. It just adds to it. I'm like, reading it was good, but the audio just
any more books.
You gotta get that's why I think like you need to listen to 1619 because the different authors reading. It's to me, I don't know if I would have been able to just physically read that book. The voices to me.
I have the physical copy and the audiobook. So I plan to whenever. I just got to find time. I'm going to do it in the first quarter, both of them. I just got to figure out because there's 2 reads going on. 1619 was going on at the same time. And then Spines Vines was doing the love songs. So I was like, but they're both like super long and heavy books. I can't do them at the same time. So I was just like, F it, I'm not doing either one of them right now. I'll get to it though, but yeah. Just not.
I meant to join one of the 1619 groups as they were reading. I just couldn't get to it.
So maybe if y'all are open to it, maybe I'll get like one of the formats and how they broke it down on one of the other groups, and then we can do it within Book Girl Magic for those that are interested. But I probably won't do it until February or March, maybe March. I mean, it'll probably be over a span of 2 months, but I just am trying to figure out the timing of when I want to do that. But if you're not pressed to read it like right now and you're okay with reading it next month or the month after that, then yeah, maybe we can do like a little group chat and do it that way.
Well, you can work on finding us our next movie, okay?
You keep asking about that too.
I didn't like say it since I missed the second one. I made the first one. One of my best friends got her PhD, so I couldn't miss her.
No, totally understandable. Listen, I forgot about it, and then the notification came on like 10 minutes before it was supposed to start, and I was like, "Oh, shit,
y'all still want to watch?"
I asked him like, "Are we still doing this or what?" Because nobody said a thing. Like normally, I'm on it. I'll advertise the morning of or whatever. Totally like skip my mind. So yeah, I'm
and
trying
then
to
we
figure
end
that
up
out.
changing, so that was good.
Yes. Yeah.
Oh, that's right. What did y'all end up watching?
Holiday Rush.
Yes, the Holiday Rush.
Okay. I've seen parts of that.
It was good.
Yeah, so I've got to figure out what the next movie will be.
Ladies, I have to go. I have a 5-year-old waiting for me.
Yes, go. Thanks for joining, Selena. So good to see your face on here.
I'll be back. So
sounds good.
Yeah. All right.
Bye.
When is The Perfect Find coming out? We don't know yet.
I have no idea.
But that definitely needs to be one.
That On the Come Up is coming out.
Oh yeah.
I was trying to figure out. I couldn't find. I was looking that up to see if there were dates. Thank you, Christine. I just saw your text messages for the 1619 stuff. The reading guides. Yeah, I don't know. I was trying to find when Angie's On the Come Up because I've not read that one yet, and I was gonna try to throw it in. What'd you say?
I haven't read that one either.
Yeah, I was like, I read the first one.
Is that his name, ma'am? Is that about the dad?
On the Come Up is Bree's story. She's a rapper.
Yeah, she's a rapper.
Okay.
So
the one you're talking about is Concrete Rose, I think.
Yes.
Is Maverick's story. Yeah.
And I didn't read that one.
I read both of those, but they
both.
start running together.
Yeah, it's like I haven't read that. So I was trying to see if I could place when I was looking at what we would read this year to see if I could place On the Come Up there, but I couldn't find when the release date was. Like it's being filmed right now, but I couldn't find a date. So I don't know. I might be able to slip it in there later whenever it comes out, but I don't know. We'll figure out a movie. I guess we'll vote. But the problem is so many damn people that aren't like us right here vote on stuff and then they never show up to anything. So I'm like,
put the vote in Messenger in our little Messenger group.
Yeah, but like do not vote. I always have to put that disclaimer. If you're not attending a book club meeting, do not I think it was when I changed the times because you remember our book chats used to be at 8. And I was like, bump that. I'm moving it to 7 so I can like watch TV and stuff at 8. Mm-hmm. And so I put that on there and all these people are like, oh, well, 7 doesn't work for me because I'm on this time. Like, but you don't even come to book club chat. I'm like, bro,
for you.
You never showed up to one. So your opinion doesn't matter right now. Like, I'm not talking to you. Like I love y'all, but if you don't show up regularly, like
just vote for the VIP people. That's all.
Yeah, that's what I'm like. I love that you have an opinion, but like really, if you're not showing up, it doesn't matter what you think. So, anyways,
you just participate in the group.
That's it. I was like, yeah, if you want to do that, that's fine. But it's like let us do us. So. Anywho, well, thank y'all, ladies. This has been awesome as always. I appreciate y'all. I'm hoping.
First sight.
Oh, yeah, is that tonight? Right now?
Uh-huh.
Oh shit! Real Housewives. There's all kinds.
Married at First Sight.
Oh,
hey.
Is this new season?
Sisters on BET comes on at 9.
New season. Yep.
Emmett Till comes on Thursday, so don't forget that.
Oh yeah, I'm gonna be watching that too.
Wait a minute, what's tonight and what's Thursday?
The Emmett Till, the Emmett Till TV series is coming on Thursday.
It comes on what channel?
Oh, ABC maybe or Fox. It's one of those.
I think it's ABC.
It's one of those.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm glad y'all
tomorrow night.
It's in the small channels. If it's not on Netflix or something, I completely miss all that.
It's called Woman Who Want or something like that. Or woman, it's a woman something, but it doesn't say Emmett Till.
Gotcha.
Yeah, so we'll see all these people who made this New Year's resolution to attend more book chats. Well, Selena was one of them, so I got to give her credit. Like she started early, so I was proud of her for showing up tonight. But like all those people in the comments that were like, oh yeah, it's my New Year's resolution to join more book club chats. Okay, we'll see when February comes and we start talking about this. Where you at?
Now, I've joined a couple before, but this is my first time talking. So that was my resolutions. I'm going to participate and not just be stalker.
Good. We're proud. Appreciate
this is
you.
my first time. I thank you guys for having me on.
No problem. We appreciate it. I was like, Brittany, I don't even remember. Did we connect on, was it TikTok?
I think IG first. I was like, Instagram. Book club. Like, it was
something. And then I told you to join us on Facebook because I was like, I know it was pretty recent that we had that conversation and stuff like that, but I'm so glad that you could join. And it's like, if people, like, I don't know what they think book club is, but I was like, if they actually came to one, like, we talk about the book, but we talk about so much other stuff too.
Yeah.
It's like a party every time we come here. So that's a lot of fun.
Every book club I've ever been in is the same way. Is, you know, some of the book and some other stuff. I was in one book club where I swear only half the people read the book. The other half never read it, but had so much to say. And it just
my side, you know, this is my main chick book club, my side piece book club. There's about this many of us in it. But
did you guys have a Zoom?
Yeah, we do.
You guys do? It's in Louisiana, or is it like I think you tried to tell me about it.
Yeah, it's through the Links chapter I'm in.
Okay, because y'all have some good books too. So if y'all are reading The Personal Librarian, let me know when that chat is, because it's a good book so far.
Yeah, they read some good ones.
Okay, I'll have to get that link from you so I can see what y'all are reading. Right. All right, ladies. Well, y'all have a good night. Thanks so much for joining. We'll see you guys later.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.